That's really heavy, right? Very,
Yeah,
very heavy. And
yeah, it's very heavy, you know. All we knew is all we saw on screen. And, you know, we are grateful that you've been able to share that part. And yeah, it's really made an impact, especially the part about the checking your pattern, being
family
aware
person, yeah.
of your pattern. I mean, it hits differently. Yeah.
It's like I want to say something, Flo, because when you say it hits differently. Look.
Yes, yes. I mean, when you started sharing that, I just have to cast my mind back to my own background. I mean, things that I have seen with my uncles that I think one way or the other, it's rearing its head in my life.
Right.
And I think we need to be watchful. And the fact that you have to also be conscious of the fact that the devil is always looking for that opportunity.
Yeah. A
And
foothold.
it's we need to be as wise as the serpent, like the Bible said. So thank you for sharing.
But this is not just all about scaring. You
Yeah.
know, this is just to energize us, because one good thing is that the devil only knows about our past, but he doesn't know the future and where God is taking us. And that's why we need to stay to him, and that's our trump card.
Yeah.
So all is not lost.
Yeah. All is not lost. There is hope because we have Christ.
So I'm actually very happy that I have two gentlemen here. So I get the opportunity to ask this question, right?
You've been dying to ask the
Yes,
question.
I'm dying to ask this question. So it's something that I know a lot of people talk about, whether women or men. And there's a narrative that we are now raising weak men. I'm sure you guys know this, right? Yes, we are raising weak men. Or the men who we have now are very weak. And everybody would have their way of defining what weak is, right? So my question to Faisal you is, are you a real man?
Yeah. So I like that. Okay, no, you're not okay. Go.
Are you a real man? And then if you are or you are not, tell us whether you're, of course you are or not. And also respond to the narrative, which is we are raising weak men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we have to put it in perspective. What is the definition of a weak man?
Yeah.
So I'm asking, what's the definition
Show
of
me.
Anybody?
who's a weak man? Like when you say we are raising weak men, what does the weak man that we are talking about? What does it mean? Are we talking about men who are in touch with their emotions? Are we talking about men who can be vulnerable? Are we talking about men who want to be themselves and function like how Christ wants them to function? Is that what we are calling weak?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah, then
And the audience can also add what they...
Then the issue is not what we are calling it. The issue is the mindset we have behind why we are calling it that. Because how is it that we have men doing everything that your Savior Jesus Christ is doing and you're calling them weak? But when you see other men doing stupid things, hard guy.
No, Faisal, wait. Wait. So make it
To put it in context,
Yes.
actually.
context. So I think when the narrative of weak men now, right? So I'll start from how, of course, in the past, it's always been the women they have sort of supported in the past in different spaces, right? So sponsorships, scholarships, women going to school, girl child education, and all that. So we have more empowered women now.
Okay.
And you understand what I mean?
Okay.
So women who now are making money, women who now are bold, confident, and are also owning their spaces, right? And then we also have, of course, we still have strong men, as in men who are still the head in the family system, right? They are the head and everything. And then we also have men who sometimes feel that the word weak is what I'm trying to define, right?
Yeah.
So weak in the sense of not wanting to take responsibilities, not wanting to lead the family. So leading the family as in leading you to pray, priesthood. Do you understand what I mean?
okay.
Leaving all that to the woman to do, not taking responsibilities, like I said, right? That context. I'm not talking about what social media is saying. I say the man has to be the sole provider. The man has to be the. But I'm just saying that because in the if of course this conversation is Christ centered, right? So if I'm going to, for example, if I'm going to a family system, I'm going to get married. Of course, the man is supposed to be the head of the family, right?
Yeah.
There are some expectations, of especially
Yeah.
you leading the family into Christ and all that, right? But I think we have moved from that to where it's now, I think a lot of women are taking that responsibility. I don't know if you understand what I mean. Yeah. So it's not really on the social media side. So that's what I want you to
It
respond.
makes sense now.
Yeah.
It makes sense now. It's gonna take me back to one of my actual mentor. Most of the times, he's very hard on men, Dr. Miles Morrow, and I heard him once talk about the fact that if you're able to recalibrate men to understand what it means to be a man, women won't have an issue in the society.
Right.
Right? And so to answer the question, I think we are living in a time that, and because there's a lot of exposure of indoctrinations and people's perspectives, we've now come to indoctrinate a lot of guys with things that are culture, but they are not Christ.
Right.
So we have a lot of guys who feel like, oh, but you're a woman, you can't do that. So why are you not doing it? That you are being weak. You are not standing in your role as the head. And the head is not up here. The head, you are supposed to be the foundation. Your woman should stand on you. There are some things you should do. There's a saying that recently I'm always debating when people tell me behind every successful man is, and I'm like, no, that's very stupid. I will want you to see my woman and see me behind my woman.
Okay.
So somebody should see my wife and, oh, that's Faisal's wife. Oh, look how she's flourishing. There is Faisal behind the scenes. Faisal was teaching her the things that she's supposed to know. Faisal was praising her. It doesn't have to be, she doesn't have to be behind me. I have to be behind her. I have to be the one to be praying for her. And unfortunately, like you said, now it's like the women are the one praying and we the men there. Yeah. And it's totally, when you look at it from a point of view, totally understandable because men are now doing a lot of work and he comes back and he's tired. Maybe the number of jobs that he's doing, you're not doing the same thing. So it's cool. Okay, let him rest and I'm going to pray and all of that. But I think the real issue is that we need to go back to understand what it means to actually be the man that God created that you're supposed to be. And if I'm going to reference to my mentor, you know, when God put man in the Garden of Eden to do all of that, there was no woman there. Adam did not know that he needed a woman. It was God who said, it's not good for this man to be alone. Why? Because this man was busy in the presence of God, worshiping God, talking to God. This man was going about his business, doing all of that. And God is like, oh, nah, you don't need to do it by yourself. So I'm going to provide for you somebody, a helper who's going to help you with all of this. Now, the question now we have in this generation is that we have men who are not in the presence of God. And you spend time in the presence of God and you go and date them. So what are they about?
Can you repeat that?
Yep. I don't even know what I just said. Wait, hold on.
You don't know because it's God who told you, but just try.
We have men who are not spending time in the presence of God. But you spend time in the presence of God and that's the one you want to date.
Not me, but you.
So, yeah, just saying. So the question now is that he is supposed to be your teacher.
Yeah.
But now you know more than he knows.
Yeah.
So what is he going to teach you? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if we are talking in that perspective, yeah, I feel like we have, I wouldn't want to use the word weak. We have a lot of ignorant men who are rolling with the culture, but they believe they are Christians. So whatever it is that they've seen being done in their family traditionally, whether good or bad, is what they think is supposed to be done. Example, I was talking to a friend, and the friend was telling me about how she was dating a guy, and the guy wanted her to do the things that the guy saw his father do in his marriage, and they were very toxic. And this guy is a Christian, a full-on Christian. So I asked the girl, when you read your Bible, when you spend time with God, do you think you as a daughter of God, your father wants you to be doing these things? She said no. I'm like, yeah, that's your answer.
Yeah.
So we need to just go back to what it means to be a man. Do you spend time in the presence of God? Do you try your best to obey what God tells you to do? Do you find yourself in a space whereby you are ready to pour into your woman? Because right now, men are not pouring. Men are not.
They are collecting.
No, there are kids here, so I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Men are pouring, but they are pouring different kind of pours.
Yeah, I get it.
You get me? What they're pouring out that day, and I don't blame them. Look, when you meet a young girl now who calls herself a Christian, and you want to have a conversation with her and pour into her, you cry, you are boring. That's what they say. You cry, you are boring. You are. I've learned and I'm pouring into you because I want to see a better you. No, I shouldn't date you, and you become a lesser version of you. No, that's an advantage to me.
Yeah.
I should date you and you should become the best version of yourself because there was a guy there who's spending time in the presence of God and he's using that to pour into you. But unfortunately, our ladies now, when you do that, they tell you, you cry, you are too holy, you dear, you don't want to talk about anything else. But there is another guy somewhere who doesn't have nothing to pour in you. Apart from stupidness, excuse my language. That is what they call fun. So I feel as much as we need to go back to that, we need to also check the mindset behind the young ladies that is making the guys behave the way they behave. Do you get the point I'm making?
Get it.
Because if I meet a lady who I'm ready to pour into and stand as the guy that God has called me to be, and she's receiving it in love, it makes me want to go and know more so I can give her more. But now if you're not receiving it, and you two are a nice girl and I like you, I need to find what you like. So that means I'm going to compromise
Yeah.
so I can get to be with you.
Okay.
So I don't think there are, I don't know if I've answered, I've said a lot. So I don't, yeah.
So let's
what
hear
you're
from let's hear from Sha, what you say.
I mean, just to throw this in, I believe that the devil's agenda has always been to cut off that link, take away leadership, authority, power from the man. And especially in the institution of marriage, where God Himself, dictates that the man is the head, and that is why, in those days, in the days of Abraham and Isaac, Jacob, it was very crucial that when a father blesses the sons, that was a crucial ceremony, and that is why we had that issue with Jacob and Esau, because the father definitely has to bless, and it has implications on that generation. And this is what the devil needs to stop. And that is why, statistics, we can see what happens in our social context where you have many homes where it's only the mother who is single-handedly nurturing children and playing the dad, playing the mother at the same time. There's a reason why God wanted the two to blend and to come together, because it was not intended for one person to do it. And so once the devil cuts off the head of the man, then it opens the family to all sorts of attacks. And so it would take a very strong woman to be able to keep, the children out of harm's way. And so for me, it's like he said, it's we have to be very, very intentional that we are not subscribing to a new era way of, this is what a guy should do now. We're in a new age. Because what God expects of us hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Not just because technology has been so well advanced or whatever laws have changed. His word is still as potent today as when it was first written. And so that is our guide. That is what we need to drink, we need to eat and breathe. Weak men, I don't even understand that. Maybe the fact that, one of the days when men were seen as strong, very stupid, once again, I'll borrow your word, where in those days when they say you're a strong guy, it means that you have 3-4 girlfriends and you can negotiate so that there's no clash.
That's sharp guy.
Let me say the sharp guy, the hard guy. How you they negotiate man way. none go come at the same time, or they ever get to know that you're playing all of them, then you're a strong guy. But now is say for the one person, it's always been that way. It's just that we've created our own way of life. And so I think that we've been weak when we thought that we were strong, and we're rather having stronger men, because stronger men who are committed to the home, committed to their vows, and that's the example that we want to have. Of course, there's a flip side where people also go into marriages, because it's more like it's the time so I need to find a wife, without really understanding why he or she is going there, and even the choice that he or she is making. How well have you prayed into this marriage before you even decide to settle with somebody? Look, when we go into that institution, that covenant, it has implications for lives unthinkable. We may never be here, but generations, it could be 50 years ahead of time. And the choice that we make today, the impact is having. My great-grandmother, I understand, was praying into our lives. Wow. I never met my great-grandmother.
Wow.
And because of certain prayers that she prayed, it has positive impact today.
Yeah.
So whatever seeds that we are sowing, whatever choices that we are making will have implications. And so strength is in those who are committed to walk in righteousness, that we do not subscribe to a certain form of, hey, man, dear, this is what man should be. I mean, we have the manual, and that's what we need to focus on, and that's where we derive strength in. Look, even when we look at the likes of Paul, who did all that he did for God, and then what did God say? There was something that he struggled with.
Yeah.
The Bible never tells us what that weakness was.
Yeah.
But God tells him, or told him, that in your weakness you find strength. This is not a weak guy. This is a powerful guy, but he had a weakness. And the moment we think that we have all the power, then we begin to deteriorate. Because the power is only in one person. And so we constantly, as I said, have to go back to the source. And if we have a manual like that, that should be our yardstick. That should be our go-to space, and not, do anything outside it. Because we otherwise then we become hypocrites.
Yeah.
And we subscribe to a certain culture that is very, very, different, and that contradicts the Bible. Otherwise, then don't be a Christian. Nobody's forcing you anyway. God has given us a will, and that's one of the questions I'm going to ask him when I get to heaven one day. But why did he give man will? It's such a powerful tool, gift, danger, all in one, embedded in one, that God has given us. Will is so powerful that you can do anything that you want. The choice is yours. He will only advise you that, but choose mine, choose life. But I will not stop you. Because one basso in here is your problem. So we need to realize that we need to build stronger men, and strength is not in walking and fleeing away from sin. That contradicts where guys will say that, oh, the woman, why you run away, you be weak guy. No, that's what we grew up knowing. Joseph fleeing away from Potiphar's wife will be, in many circles, will be regarded as Charlie, the guy will be guy. Woman, wait, I've finished the thing, and we give you.
Some people say he's gay. That's why. Yeah,
that's
sort of
strength.
show me.
Or you be jumbo.
That is strength.
You run
That is
out
The kind of woman, that she is described to be, who is not that you are forcing or doing anything, it's a silver platter. You know me. But to walk away from such a temptation, so that is strength. And that strength is not from him, it's deriving from a source. And so we need to reorientate ourselves and resensitize ourselves at what is weakness, what is strength. I think the world has gotten it wrong, and if we subscribe to that, we're doomed.
Thank you
Let
very
me
much.
pick one too. Just when he said Joseph, Samson was seen to be the strongest man.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But Samson was weak.
Irony.
but the one that we thought it was weak was the strongest. Because in that moment, he has strength enough to walk away. But the one that everybody thought was strong, the woman was not naked, crowd. He was already taken down. So yeah, it's yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Pusha. So I think we should give they deserve a hand clap. And I'm learning a lot. I'm sure most of you are also learning a lot. We would like to really hear from the audience, right? Our panelists have spoken. You've heard from them. Like we said, they are not the smartest, and they are not the only ones God has used, right?
Not at all.
Because of the cameras, I can't share my own because where to go, no? I'll get some calls.
Some calls.
So just know that yes, God has also saved me. But I really want to hear from the audience. We're talking about becoming. We've said that it's a journey. No one has figured it out yet. God has picked that from somewhere. He's still on a journey with us. We still fall, right? Faisal and the Pusher. We still fall, and we are still falling. Even before coming here, I'm sure some people fell.
2 days ago, I've said something.
So, I'm even sure while people are here, they are falling. They are DMing and all that. So please, yeah. So please, the floor is open. Like we said, this is a safe space. You can just share with us your understanding of becoming. You don't need to share your story, but just basically what you've gotten from either Pusha or Faisal's story, if you can relate. Let's have the conversation going on. So we're trying to move away from making this thing a podcast, right? This is just we having bold conversations. Okay, bold conversations. So if you have the microphone, can you go around?
And also, if you have any question for any of us, and
So it can be a question, or it can also be you just chiming in. So if the microphone can go around, you can raise your hand, and then we can give you the microphone. For those of you who came late, we had a rule. The rule is that you smile. That's all. Because sitting here, no tension is here, pa. So just smile. Just help us smile. No, me, I don't get to smile. You have to smile. Please, don't you have anything to share?
any question?
Okay.
Yeah, Martin here once again. So all we are talking about is becoming. I have a question.
Okay.
Does the process ever end? Is there an end to it? Is there a stage where you become and then it ends there? Or it just continues?
That's a heavy one. Billy, can I let me attempt to answer this question. I think that becoming never ends. Is a journey, and it's a journey of continuous discovery. And I'll share something. I mean, my wife is here. I hope she forgives me. Recently, we had an argument, and
Yesterday, I had an argument with my wife. It's a normal thing.
we had an argument, and the argument was about fufu.
Yeah.
So it was really heated. And for the first time in 7 years, I had not seen my wife that angry. So I just decided to take a walk outside and then cool off. And then I called my big brother and he showed me what to do. And then I came back. So in the evening, I decided to find out what was wrong with her. Because she spoke at length. And she said a lot of things. And as a man, I feel like, Dede, I'm trying to be the husband, the best way I can. But there are little things that were eating her up. And she wants to reach out, but I am emotionally unavailable to listen to her. So when the Fufu saga came, it was an opportunity for her to vent. To answer your question, 7 years, I've been with my wife for 10 years. Like we've known each other for 10 years. So I thought if the babe frowns, it means this. If she walks a certain way in the house, it means she's angry. But that day, I discovered something. And it dawned on me to realize that this thing will never go reach. We keep on going. So to answer your question, from my perspective, as a role, as a husband, like playing my role as a husband, I don't think there's going to be a time where I can confidently say that I have become. But it has to be continuous improvement. So when she said all that she said, all that I said is, Dede, Diawakano, Mate, I'm sorry. Because I understood where she was coming from. That's what I have to say with respect to your question.
It's a continuous growth. It's growth. You go from one level to the next, and so things that you used to do that would be offensive to somebody, or if it's this weakness that you had, okay, now you have a way out. This is how you solve it. You've created boundaries. So, for example, that the moment you go into certain circles, you are bound to be influenced by maybe a bottle of beer from your friends, and your history. That really boosts the air if you touch your tongue before you left the place.
You finish yourself.
Yeah.
So then that comes in. Okay, no, Charlie. You know that you're not going to those spaces anymore. Sometimes there's certain spaces or certain companies that you need to avoid just for your own sake, because you know where you've come from.
Yeah.
And that is no weakness. It's just putting boundaries. And then he talked about that earlier on, so that we're growing and rediscovering and rediscovering. We never arrive, because when we arrive, then we're in heaven.
Yeah.
Because as long as we're in this vessel, because this journey is a journey on this earth, and as long as we remain in this vessel,
Yeah.
it will continually, battle with us. And we can never be complete until, and that's why he says he's going to prepare a place for us.
Yeah.
Place where there is no crying, there's no weeping, because when we're here, some way or one of the ways we're going to submit to it and succumb to it, and so that we have to go to him again, ask for forgiveness, and do better next time and all that. So it's never a journey that we end, but we continue growing and continue seeking his favor and power, so that we can overcome any challenge.
I think Lois has a concern or a question.
Let me just quickly add this to it.
Yeah.
And I think that God, in his own unique way, has a reason why he made it that way. Because if you realize, whenever we become complacent and think that we know too much of something, we go and do something stupid.
Yep.
Yep.
So in his own unique way, he made it that way that you will never think you have arrived. And the moment you have that arrival mentality, you start fooling. So if you keep on your guard that I'm not there yet and I'll never be there, it just guides you and you keep doing better than that. So it's just a continuous thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Lois.
Right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Lois, and I'd like to add something to it. I'll probably answer his question from my perspective.
Yes, sir.
Right. So when we talk of becoming, and if we're coming from an angle of it being a destination and a journey, I think we can look at it in phases. And when it comes to what we call purpose, I like to call it calling, because per the definition of purpose, we all have the same purpose. It's to know God and to make him known. That's the purpose of every person on earth, every human being. What we call purpose is actually calling. Who are you and what have you been sent here to do? That is your calling.
Silence.
And that is where we have differences. Some are called to be doctors, some are called to be evangelists, some are called to be teachers, whatever it is. And it's within the calling that you express your set of giftings. Now, you express your gifts and the calling that you have in assignments. And assignments grow, assignments change. They come with seasons and times. Even as we walk through life, in your teenage years, you may be walking an assignment and you may not even be aware. And so when one assignment is completed, you're moved into another. That is why you may lose friends. You may come out of certain companies. You may come out of certain associations because that time is done and you're supposed to be getting into another one. Now, if we're going to merge that with the concept of becoming, then it means that if what I'm saying is true, then it means that for every assignment, there's a becoming you have to be or do. And that means then that if we're considering it in that aspect, then there is an end to a becoming.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it. Women.
Am I making any sense?
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of sense, actually.
Thank you. Right. So the only time becoming has no end is when it comes to the consideration of eternity. But when it comes to walking in our various callings, then there is a becoming. Because for every level that you're called to, there's a protocol for it. And that is why you can never get to meet certain people or have certain amounts of money or share of wealth until you have become,
Certain. Yeah.
probably in wisdom, probably in understanding, probably in the way you carry yourself, your composure, your thought process, and all of that. So just to answer what he said, if we're going to put in a timeline as to a particular role or assignment as a husband, as a son, as a father, as a teacher, whatever sphere we're looking at it from, then we can say that becoming is a journey, but then within that journey, there is a destination. Once again, my name is Lois. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was so insightful. Yeah, I think. My big man. He said, as Christians, we're playing small. Do you remember?
I do. My name is Nyanyue. Nyanyue means good news.
Good news. Yeah.
But I have a question for Mr. Anand.
Yeah.
I mean, we've come to understand that becoming is continuous improvement per stage, as Lois just explained to us right now. But especially for you, because just right now you were introduced again, because I know you're Sajiti Anand, but we do know you as Pusha. And every time there's a reference to that part of you that was there.
Yeah.
And then you become this person, because you've also done amazing roles. You've done Devil in the Detail, Potomanto, among so many others. But then how do you navigate it, especially now that you are this person who's standing in this place right now, and that part of your becoming is finished? But then there's always the reference of that person, and you feel like you always have to step into that shoe to show who you are right now. How do you navigate that? Because I'm asking this because at what point do we stop sharing the stories of who we were when we were in the world? At what point do we start sharing the stories of who we've become when we became born again, the things that we did probably in the beginnings, all the zeal that had knowledge? At what point do we use that as a reference moving forward instead of starting from the reference when we were in the world? That's my question.
That's a loaded one. Good news.
Look, I think that whatever that we've done in the past, whatever that we became, would always be a reference point compared to the journey that we're on or where we are. And so you cannot wipe that away. People will always want to compare what you are now or where you are now to what you were once before. And there has to be a difference, because then it means that, like Lois did say, there's some becoming that you haven't left undone. And that reference point would want you to sort of, let's do it again, or let's do it differently. And so it is not to, as it were, prove myself, intentionally that, yeah, Charlie, when you say pusher, hey, Charlie, I'll not be pusher again. I mean, no, that's not it. But for me, knowing that even playing that character I was being used as a tool to let people know that these characters do exist and we should be wary of them. Before I even stepped into the character, these were the characters that some of my family members warned me not to play. Because, I mean, there are so many characters. Why play the bad boy?
Bad boy, yeah.
My answer to them was that somebody has to play Judas Iscariot.
Yeah.
And he was a bad guy, But if we do not play those characters, then we can reveal their intentions, their motivations, what they internalize against what we see outward. So I don't have to prove myself to anyone. I just have to know that I have grown from what I was before, and whatever the influences that pusher had on me or my life at a certain stage. And let also not forget that in the world of acting, I don't know how that translates into other fields, but in the world of performance, there's what we call character embodiment, where actor and character become one. And if you're playing roles that have long term, so series, and those who we see season 10, and they're playing this years and years, if you do not draw those lines professionally, technically, you as a Jete can become pusher over time. Remember that whatever that we embody, the world is made up of flesh, spirits. There's spirits in everything that we do. Some people take those things for granted. And they embody spaces. And that's why when there's a vacuum, more people will come. And we have to fill those spaces with something, with substance. And so, even in my living that character or characters that I've played, there's a point where I need to draw the line and say, okay, hey man, you can't take over Ajite. Ajite is this person. I'm playing a character to reveal, this is a tool that I'm using to teach or send a message out there. But then I have to get out of that and live my life, because I also I've become in that pusher setting. I've moved on to another space. And so when people throw stories to me, of that are similar to pusher, I'm like, I'm pretty much done with that. It may come in another form, so that's different, because at every stage there's a goal that we need to meet, and so that's how I handle it. And it is more of a personal thing than trying to check whether the world is okay, whether pusher is done or pusher is not done. It's more more reflections that I do, retrospection, as to whether I've grown, and there's a distinct from who I was, or the characters that I played from who I am today. I don't know whether that answers you. Thank you.
Yes.
I learned to stand because I'm vertically challenged. But I'm proudly short. I love being short. The advantages to that. So, once again, my name is, I don't know if I said it first time, Ufosia Deku Ama. Currently, I help people overcome toxic workplaces. And the reason why I say this is because of their journey of becoming. I have a question for Faith out though. And I'll ask it at the end, but I want to share a bit of mine. About a year ago, I fought with God. I don't particularly have a bad girl story. Let's come through, she be too known, she's proud. Yes. I had PhDs at those. But I grew up in a Christian home. I was very privileged in a lot of ways. But I started work, and about 10 years later, a good friend of mine who had been a colleague said, I know your heart. I know who you are. But I just don't understand why you keep getting terrible bosses and terrible colleagues. So I was so angry with God. I'm like, God, I know you created me to handle it. But like, I was so livid. I was just upset. And around this time last year, I was facing a charge at work.
Oh.
Yeah. And yes, a disciplinary charge that would get me expelled. Like, it's one of those things that when they finish and
You are going home.
bad, and it's that bad, you can
Yeah.
go home. So it was very stressful for me. And I wasn't, let's just say, in my opinion, it was something small that had been blown up to become very big. And I remember having this dream, and the dream was fine. And like, yeah, God will show them. They didn't. But little did I know that, and I like what she said. For me, that stage was pride. God needed to attack it properly. And he had to use what I cherish, my integrity. And it was just being sold all over the place. But I didn't know 2025 was coming. And I didn't know that in 2025, I will go on a career break. Yes, in today's Ghana, I went a career break. I didn't know that he was going to call me to assist people get through toxic workplaces because I had. And not only, and as Faisal says, not that he's proud of it. I had one of the times I become such a toxic colleague. It was terrible. So now when I help people, I can say, look, pause, it's bad, but check your life. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, are you being toxic yourself? Because toxicity breeds toxicity. So what I'm just trying to say that nothing in your life is wasted.
Mm.
And in this whole journey of becoming, this big flaw right now could actually become an asset later. Like, God does not waste our desires. He doesn't waste anything. He doesn't waste the tears. He doesn't waste these big dreams. Everybody thinks you are crazy. And he doesn't waste the ones that everybody feels like, oh, you're doing a good job, you're on the right path. So just saying thank you for the two of you for sharing your story. I've learned a lot. Well, Isa, I want to ask you a question. Didn't you at some point feel that now that you're going on the straight and narrow path, you lose everything? And I don't want to assume for you, how do you deal with that? How did you deal with that the first time? Because your life was built on a certain lifestyle, you don't want to play any song again. So do you have a job? Like, and what was the first time it hit you? And as the devil doesn't relent, how do you deal with it now? Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for that. So yes, I think it didn't hit me until the Holy Spirit told me that my former workplace, I was done with that place, so I'm not gonna work there no more. So before I went back to church in November, on the November 3rd, 2021. Before I went there, I heard clearly that you're supposed to now work with a Christian television station. So I'm like, okay, at least you cared about, the level from if I'm going to give up this, you are putting me here. And so I did my research. I'm giving a preamble, then I'll say I did my research and I found a few television stations that are Christian based. And I'm like, oh, nice. So I went to one, right? Had a meeting with the manager. And the first time the manager said almost like, you look like you're going to cost us a couple of dollars. Mind you, I was paid in cedis. So then I'm happy in my heart, like, hey, Holy Spirit, you're taking me from cedis to dollars. Come on. I was excited. So I had a meeting with this woman. Then a few months later, I was not hearing from her again. This is 2021. So I'm like, hey, this thing, was it really the Holy Spirit who was talking to me, or was my own flesh? And it was in that moment that it occurred to me, like, wait, you're about to lose all of those things. And how was I going to survive? And in that moment again, that is when the Holy Spirit told me, have faith. You're not the one who's going to take care of yourself. So have faith. And I'm like, okay. So I went to that station. Nothing went through from 2021 all through to, I think, December 2022. I didn't have a job. But guess what? I ate good. I slept good. And people would see me and they go like, but you sure say you know the job? Because like the way you are looking and how you're going about and all of that. And there were times that I had thought like, low key, make I still do this thing low key than Charlie. And I realized that it was because there were wants that I wanted, but I didn't really need them. So I wanted to do things to please my wants in that moment. I thought, I'm like, no, I don't really want this. Because I'm a very fashionable person. I love fashion, right? And in my previous life, I was the type that I didn't want to repeat my sneakers.
Oh,
Right? I didn't want to repeat my clothes. But the income coming doesn't match the lifestyle I want to live.
yeah.
So what do? Right? So now when I got on this part, there was still that tendency in me. So I wanted to find ways and means to have enough so I can cater to that want. Until the Holy Spirit was like, no, you don't need these things, but it's because you want them. And so I realized that even in that moment, there was something that he was teaching me, right? That you don't need all of those things. Those are things that you want them. Fast forward to December 2022, I get a job at a TV station I'm working on. I had my first meeting and they told me, we are sorry. We can't pay you what we know you are worth. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, like you God, like what's up? Like, how do you? So what am I supposed to do? And the Holy Spirit told me, you're going to take this job. So I went back, I told them, give me a time, let me think about it. I went back and said, what do you want to think about? You're going to take that job. And I don't want to disclose the figure that they give me. They don't pay me. What they give me is something just to buy fuel. For the past 2 years, last week I was telling a friend didn't believe it. I'm like, yeah, they give me something to buy fuel. But guess what? I've learned what it means to budget. I've learned what it means to live in my means. I've learned what it means to say, sorry, I can't afford this. Whilst pride on the other side will make me feel like, yeah, I can afford it and go and do this to go and get it.
Yeah.
And I shared with you that I had a very good deal from a betting company. They wanted me to do something amazing. It was going to be a couple of huge cities. Like right now, like, yo, like I'm chilling. You get me? And I'm like, wait, I'm going to go sit on TV and talk about what bet and the values in it, and what am I really preaching to the people that are following me? And I thought about it because, hey, I mean, bets, they are maybe bets, if you vibe, but Holy Spirit said no. And that money also, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. You get me? But it's when you set your face to the one that you want to follow and be with, he takes care of you, and there are lots of distractions that you don't see. Just like when Jesus called Peter to come. Peter started walking cool. So dude was like, let me look what's going on. He started drowning. Right? If I look at, Charlie, what's the latest? I use an iPhone 11 Pro Max. What's the latest that they have now? iPhone what?
17.
17.
Yeah, 17.
There's nothing in me to want to even get it. Like, this phone works perfect. I can do everything in it. But just because I want to go get it and let everybody know that, hey, what's up? I'm rolling with iPhone this, so if even I can't afford it, I have to do stupid things to go and get it. And I have the tendencies to do that. The only reason why I don't do is because I fix my eyes on Jesus. At the end of the day, this phone, if it falls down right now, it cracks, it's done. Then what? The phone doesn't determine my value or my worth.
Yeah.
It's not about what I have around me or what I have in mind or what I have on me. No, it's who I know I am in the person I am inside. So to answer your question, yeah, I thought about all of that. And the deals will come, I'll have the opportunities and all of that. But whenever they come, I remind myself, bro, this thing cry, you do it some few, then it's done. Then the love relationship, I think you have to get to a point that you really want to love Jesus, that you don't want to break his heart, even though he's going to break your heart. Yeah. You don't want to break his heart, even though he will break your heart. Because there are things in our hearts that we want to do, that we love, and he will tell you, sorry, you can't do it. That's a broken heart. But you wouldn't want to break his heart, knowing that, you went back to go and do this because of what? iPhone 17. What can I not give you? Am I not better than these things?
Sure.
And I think that's where I've been able to, by the grace of God, I'm not perfect, but I'm at a point that every now and then I tell myself, what I have is better than everything else. I'm not in no competition. And look, one thing I'm going to say, that if you make up your mind to live by faith, God is going to take care of you.
Yeah, man.
when I used to work in the secular world, I didn't have my own place, but I had a lot of girls who wanted to sleep with me. So guess what? I was always trying to find a friend's place, like, yo, I they come your place and all of that. I mean, back then, when I got converted, right? And of course, I had ruined out my savings and everything. I didn't have money to rent. So I had to move into a cousin's place. And when they were moving out, word was that they didn't want to move with me. I'm like, hey, God, I need the money to rent in Accra. They're like, how? Like, what I go do? And all of that. And I heard God tell me, don't move with them. I'm like, if I don't move with them, where am I going to sleep? Like, how? But I moved with them. Fast forward a month later, I have an uncle who comes to Ghana. He has a house in Ghana, a huge house. There's nobody in it. We started the year, and I'm here thinking, like, God, how am I going to get a rent, whatever? How am I going to do all of this? He calls me and tells me, I have a house. There's nobody there. Please, do you mind coming to be in it for me?
Imagine that. Wow.
And when I say these things, especially in the culture we live in right now, that people feel like, oh, as a young guy there, if you hustle, then do this thing. Sorry, I'm not a hustler. No, I'm God's child. I don't hustle. I don't hustle. I have faith that He's going to provide for me. And it's not all the time that it's going to be by my labor. There are times that He's going to take somebody's labor and give it to me as an inheritance. If only I'm going to be faithful to Him and obey what He tells me to do. I live in Accra. I don't pay rent. And I know how young guys are struggling to pay rent by the grace of God. And I have no shame. I'm going to say it proudly because God did it for me. I'm not going to sit here and make it seem like I have it all figured out. No. So that you look at me and feel like, hey, this guy. No. I want you to know it's my faith, having in God, that He's going to take care of me. If I'm going to be faithful and honest with Him, He's going to take care of me. So, my sister, tell me, why do I have to go and kill myself to do things to get? Nah, faith. I have faith in God. He's going to take care of me each and every single day. So, yeah.
Thank
Faith.
you.
Yeah.
Faith. This has been we anticipated to use 1 hour. I mean, we've crossed the 1 hour. I can see our coordinator throwing signs to us already. I think we've shared deep insights. We've shared a piece of ourselves. We've been bold about some of the things because some of the things that were shared here are personal and are vulnerable. To my panelists, I think we couldn't find any better panelists to do justice to this topic. I appreciate you, my big brother. I mean, one interesting thing about Mr. Ajite Anand, just permit me. I mean, I'm really honored to have him here. We met at Blue Circle, Caveman's event, and I was with my brother. So my brother introduced Bibo to him. And then he liked the page. He followed the page and liked all the photos. And, at that time, I felt like, oh, Ajite was just, the Gen Z call it fanfooling. But when I conceived the idea of having him on this panel, when I picked up the phone to call him, picked up, bro, what's up? I'm like, hey. So you could realize that it took me about 3 seconds before I started saying what I have to say. And he's been amazing. He responds to my messages. He reads my messages. He's always, when I send him a message about Be Bold, he responds. And like the other time I was telling you, this is a validation to me that we are doing something impactful. And I am grateful. And Pfizer, we met at the barber shop. We share the same barber. And one day he just asked me a question about the song. And the way he was asking the question, I'm like, who is this guy? Not knowing. But then I saw he was holding a Mouse Moreau book. This guy is setting me up. So, and we had a very nice conversation. We exchanged contacts and we have been in touch. And when I called him, he didn't hesitate at all. Faisal, I'm grateful. And my able co-host, if you know Ekia very well, you know that it takes a lot to get her face on a video such as this. Yes, and I don't take it for granted at all that you've been able to lend your voice, lend your face to push this agenda. I appreciate you so much, and thank you for being a good friend. And I mean, it's amazing how, honestly, you could see on my face how disappointed I was. It was amazing how you took over to turn things around to make sure that we had a successful event. I am grateful. Thank you. And to my wonderful people, I mean, I see my friends from day one, my mom, my wife, my son, my friends, my groomsman, Luther, Miracle, my big brother, Nene, Yulo. I'm grateful. Thank you all for showing up. This is not the end. I'm from the look of things, I've come to realize that we have a lot to share. So the conversation is not going to end. We will surely do this again, but even this night, let's keep the conversation going. Let's talk among each other. Let's explore. Let's keep on exploring what it means to become. Let's share a beautiful moment. So after here, we don't have an MC, so we'll just close. After here, there is food from my people, Men's Cook. Somo Cocktails too has done some wonderful cocktails. Let's treat ourselves to the food. Let's connect. And of course, we can see that there's a store there. We made a special edition for this event. It's limited to just 30. I think about 5 is sold already. Just walk to our store and grab yourself one to support the cause. Thank you. I appreciate you all. Love and peace.